Oh boy. Oh boy. Guess who was right about 6-month anniversary? This guy.
A journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step.
Let's get it. I called it. I said it on Tuesday. I said it last week. I said it the week before. 6-month anniversary. After the surpluses, we're going back to the marinas. We was going back to the marinas because we need a 6-month anniversary god. That is right. But finally, the pieces of the puzzles were already given to us throughout the week anyway. When we first released the half-year countdown, if you guys noticed it, here is, of course, the Aquaman trident. See? Originally wanted to make this video on Wednesday to go ahead and throw it out there, but I needed the final confirmation piece in regards to everything, and the final confirmation piece finally came out, which was this morning at 3 o'clock in the morning. We have final confirmation that our 6-month anniversary god for the game is Aquaman, aka Poseidon. First and foremost, Poseidon, like every other character, has 3 different passive skills, but he has a unique godly passive skill called Speed Judgment. Now, my understanding, at least from the breakdown of what it does, the first and foremost, let's go ahead and look at all of the skill sets and breakdowns that we have here. Shout out to my boy Suzeli, shout out to my boy Z, shout out to everybody over on the Discord, and of course the Saint Seiya Shining Soldiers crew over on Twitter for dropping the content. Always showing support to the game and to everybody who goes ahead and sends me this content in order for me to be able to make these videos. So the first thing is he does have Speed A is a skill 9 with 27 power, as you guys can see here. I don't know if you guys can read the same thing as me. So his skill B is it reduces all enemies defense by 14%. It has a cooldown too. So in other words, you can actually use him in a substitution method and then use that attack to drop down the person's defense, overall defense. And then his charge C skill deals 37% damage and reduces the main opponent's defense by 22% also. So overall, he is a defense tweaker, which means that and it's not saying physical defense, it's not saying spiritual defense, it's overall defense. Anytime he takes a hit off of you with charge skill C, it'll overall bring your defense down. This is a counter to a lot of high HP players that have an insane amount of HP. So like an example is Godcloth Aldebaran or Godcloth Taurus. If you rank them all the way up to 150 plus all the Zodiac Panel Awakens and you give him the right armor, this man can have 500,000 HP. So probably the biggest tank in the game. But if you don't have a character that is going to survive his attacks or cause burn or hell's fire or anything like that, it'll sort to chunk off his health, you're gonna have a hard time. So what this character in particular does for you is that every time he hits, it reduces the overall defense of the actual character, no matter who it is. So by reducing their defense, even if you do defeat that opponent's Poseidon, your tank is going to more than likely have his overall defense chopped in half. So it's going to make you either switch out your tank or continue trying to use that particular tank, and he's going to be essentially a glass jar by turn 2 or turn 3. It doesn't tell me exactly what kind of affinity he is. It's not telling me if it's if he's a blocker or a defender or anything like that. I want to assume that that Poseidon is a blocker. I want to assume he's a blocker. If he's reducing overall defense and he's a solid, that is right, a solid blue, If he is a blocker, that means that he's also going to have a decent amount of HP, a decent amount of defense, a decent amount of attack power. And if you get him up to level 150 plus whatever else, I think that this possibly can be the best blue unit in the game. There's only one blue unit in the game that I'm stating that is the best unit in the game right now. It has a little bit of overall everything. And believe it or not, that has to be Blue Aphrodite. Blue Aphrodite has been very slept on, but it's come to my attention that is probably one of the best blockers in the game. Not only does he have high HP, he has high defense on both fronts, both defensive front and on both fronts, physical fronts and spiritual front, but he also hits pretty decently hard. So I'm assuming that this guy right here is going to be basically Aphrodite Blue on steroids. So his defense is going to be extremely high, but his attack power is also going to be extremely high. And he's a god. He's a god card. He has to have a little bit of everything. That's the best way to put it. When it comes down to god units, you have to understand that these guys have to be OP. It's not, there will be better units down the road, but these guys have to be OP. These guys have to be tough. These guys have to withstand 1 or 2 hits minimum. Personally, I think that he'd be a great combination for being in the middle. So not the point, not the anchor, but the center. If you keep him at the center, using his speed 2 to reduce the overall defense of the warrior that's fighting after 2 turns. Then on turn 3, whoever you have at the front, if he's a blocker, if he's a defender, if anything like that of the sort, what would end up happening is that you could go ahead and use his speed 2 to drop the overall attack, the overall defense power of the other opponent. And if you have a solid defender, then that means that your defender now is going to take more damage. So if you're tossed out a tank versus a tank and you manage to get to turn 3, you know, tank versus tank, and then you do this, then more than likely you're going to take much more damage with your tank against the other. So strategy placing, put it like that. Also use him on the back end because he has this skill, this new skill, which is going to be the first time being introduced into the game. It's called Reserve Speed Judgment. From my understanding is that this particular passive skill, what it's supposed to do is the charge move that you have on the charge move that you have with the highest roulette after a certain turn. Either it's gonna be that after a certain turn, or you could use it immediately after turn 1. So like on turn 2, you'll be able to do this. It's gonna work 1 or 2 ways. Whatever skill that you pick on that turn, the passive is gonna kick in, and it'll automatically make that skill go into full Cosmo, full SSA animation. So whichever skill has the most on the roulette is gonna automatically after like turn 1 and turn 2 go bink and go to full Cosmo. That is what I think is going to do. That is what I believe the skill is, his third skill. That's what I think. I think that's what it does. Now, it can also mean that his third passive, which this will be amazing, outrageous. It'll mean that every single time he attacks, he'd have an SSA animation. Think about that one. Listen to what I'm saying. His third passive can also mean that at any time or every turn, whatever skill has the most on his roulette will automatically get the full roulette. If that is also what this means, I'm going based off the information that's being given to me. Again, not too much details in regards to that. A lot of people want to wait, but I want to break this down because I think that it is imperative to know exactly what you're going into when you're doing this, when you're about to roll for this guy. It's going to work that every charge skill that has the most on its charge is going to go ahead after turn 2. is going to activate once or twice maybe, and it'll give that particular charge skill full SSA animation or whatnot for like the next 5 turns or something like that. Or what will happen is throughout the match, any charge skill, the charge skill that has the most charge on it will automatically hit SSA, so you basically can't miss. That's essentially the gist of this. Of this particular passive is that more than likely, either for 5 turns, you won't miss at all, or the entire match by using Poseidon, you can't miss because of the simple fact that every turn you can do an SSA animation. See what I'm saying? So with that perspective being put there, I think that that is going to be an extremely OP card. I think that personally, the greatest thing of it is that it's going to force a new meta. That is right. It's going to force a new meta to the point where people are going to focus on trying to take this guy out first, because I can just imagine. Yo, just imagine you fighting somebody who has Poseidon, and they go ahead, and if this passive skill works the way I'm saying, right? They go ahead turn 1 or turn 2. On turn 2, this speed 9 attack goes full blast. Boom, right? Cool. Right? You're doing an automatic SSA animation, right? Now, you can win or lose the 1K war, but again, like I mentioned before, due to him being more than likely a blocker and not an attacker, he's going to probably take or tank some kind of damage, right? So that means his speed 9 attack comes in, full SSA animation, fully powered up, level 5. I'm 1000% guaranteed this shit gonna take a lot of damage, especially if you're a weak affinity. If you're red, if you're white, if you're black, and you're not, you know, you're going to get damaged. Let's put it like that. Now, the next thing you know is you go ahead and the next turn, your speed, your charge C skill is now has the higher roulette than the other 2 skills, right? Now your charge 3 skill is bink, full maximum, right? Or whatever the case might be. Now you use your charge skill, your charge C skill, right? And you're fighting. You already killed the first character. More than likely, you already killed the first, your first opponent with that hit, with that speed 9 hit. Now you're using your skill C, which although is speed 1, it is a 37% damage. In that sense, you go ahead and use your skill C. Now you went ahead and let's say they use the green unit, and you get hit with the green unit, you barely survive, you hit him with the skill C, is a full SSA animation. Again, like I mentioned, because of the passive skill, and due to that, what ends up happening is that your character will get, the opponent's character will get automatically the 22% defense reduction, plus get smacked for 37% power attack. At that point, you can switch out your character, you know, overall, and that 22% of overall defense damage cut, even fighting with a blue unit against a green unit, you're gonna take a good chunk of damage. Bottom line, I hope you guys have been saving money. Obviously I haven't. I've been training, I've been doing my thing, whatever the case might be, but I will be ready for our anniversary. I will be ready to invest in this. I will be ready to be able to get you guys the best content as possible within the financial realm of possibilities that we have currently. Outside of that, all I can say is good luck to everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure you go ahead and hit the sub, hit the follow, hit the share. Make sure you guys come back and continue coming on through, because this is it. This is it. The game is about to take off. 6-month anniversary is here, baby, and that's all we got. With that being said, holla at the boy, DVGTX-YT. I'm out.